This is the Weekly Scramble, a place where we chat about life over a cold one or two. It's time to belly up to the pod with Mike Fratelloni and your host, Chris Reavers.
That's right. It's time for the Weekly Scramble podcast. My name is Chris Reavers. With me is Mike Fratelloni. Hello, Michael.
How you doing, Reavers?
Good. Glad to have you back.
Can I say something?
Oh, please, go ahead.
Great show the other day, the one that I wasn't on.
Okay.
Why do you do your best work when I'm not here?
Stop it.
Why is it always you're knocking out of the park with a good interview? That guy from Mint Properties,
Jim Rubin,
really was a great guest. You really got a lot out of him. I'm glad to sit down and understand a little bit more about them. For those who don't know, Mint Properties was located on 19th. I mean, they have a bunch of buildings, but they're located on 19th and Nicollet. I think one of their big buildings is. And we had a hardware store on 18th and Nicollet.
Oh, that's right.
So much of what he talked about, gunplay in the parking lot type of thing, happened at our location. And to be fair to our location, our lease was up. We were there for 20 years, and we just didn't renew our lease, right? And we probably... If it would have been what it was like 10 years ago, it was one of our most successful stores, and then it just petered down to nothing. And so we left that, and we had a store in Uptown, so we knew all of our customers could just go to Uptown. In fact, Jim is one of our best customers at Mint Properties at Fratelloni's.
Did the building get replaced with something else, do you know?
The person who bought our building during the time of our lease, a developer bought our building, much like Mint Properties, and they're going to redevelop that building anyways. So they said, hey, you guys can stay here for longer, but we might redevelop any day. So the last thing you want to do as a business owner is keep investing to improve your location and then have your landlord say, sorry, we're tearing it down.
Sure.
And I assume they're going to tear it down in 2 more years when crime turns.
Gotcha.
When everything gets better, when the new mayor of Minneapolis gets in and creates this great socialistic network across the town.
Yeah, when Omar Fateh takes over.
When Omar Fateh wins in a landslide.
Oh, for sure.
Then he'll make what the changes that need to be made in the city. So 19th and 18th and Nicollet will become God's country again.
So...
Could you tell I was being facetious?
Yes, I can. Okay. And that's so it's interesting you say that because I know you haven't had a chance to listen to the Garage Logic podcast from today because you walked in the door as I was posting the show. But Joe got an email from a listener who was listening to our show, meaning me with Jim Rubin, and thought it was either an episode of GL or whatever, and had said something that Reavers really made a profound point with your guest, Jim Rubin. And Joe said, I don't remember you saying that. I said, I know, because that was on my show, and it's always nice to be able to finish a sentence.
I did listen to a couple of shows while I was gone. I was out of town, right? I went to Traverse City. Ever been to Traverse City?
No.
Really pretty town.
Help me.
Traverse City, Michigan, on Lake Michigan.
Gotcha. Okay,
right?
Thank you.
Super pretty, and I was driving all around Michigan, and Michigan's really, really pretty. I did not know. I kind of thought
Dearborn,
of Michigan
not so much.
No, and I kind of thought of Flint. When I thought of Michigan, I thought of Flint and bad parts of Detroit. Boy, northern Michigan?
Michigan is very similar to Minnesota in this regard. There's your Detroit, Dearborn, Flint, those areas that are much like what is the current state of Minneapolis and St. Paul. But you get outstate Michigan, it's
gorgeous.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Rolling hills, beautiful. I was actually taking pictures of trees changing colors, and I would send them to my wife, and she's like,
leaf peeping?
What are you doing? What are you doing? And I'm doing it like while I'm doing 80 in the rental car, like sticking out my camera out the window. And she's like, honey, I've seen a tree that was once green, now burnt orange. I think I got it. And I don't know.
So we have so much stuff to get to because there's been so much news that has happened. And not that I want to start the show off on a dour note, but there's a couple of stories that have really, really sat in my craw. Is that the right word? Okay.
Stuck in your craw.
Stuck in my craw. Thank you. And I wanted to expand upon this because one of them happens to have taken place close to my neck of the woods in Rice County.
Oh, what's this?
And I was really, really disturbed by what had unfolded with a special education teacher in the Northfield School District. And it's I had heard about this story a while ago, but the reason it resurfaced, I believe on Monday or Tuesday, was because she had her trial date set forth.
Okay.
Do you have it in front of you? Because give me a second.
I don't. Remind me her name.
I believe it's Katie Hansen.
Katie Hansen. Okay.
Yeah.
And Katie Hansen's a school teacher.
Well,
special needs school teacher.
Yes. So let me just get the story. I got it right here. A former Northfield middle school teacher pleaded guilty on Monday to sending sexual photos of herself to children, court documents show. Katie Hansen, 38, entered a guilty plea via petition to one count of engaging in electronic communication relating or describing sexual conduct with a child. It's part of a proposed plea deal that would dismiss a second count of the same against her and earn her a stay of imposition with 5 years of probation, community service, and restitution if applicable. The deal would also require her to testify in the case of Gabriel Crombie, a school resource officer accused of helping Hansen cover up the sexting incidents. The plea deal needs to be approved at Hansen's sentencing hearing, which is scheduled for February 3rd. Last December, a student reported Hansen sent her and other boys' photos via Snapchat. The boy also said that told Crombie about Hansen's behavior, but police found no documentation of the report. Charging documents said Hansen admitted to sending nude photos to several boys, the youngest of whom was in 8th grade. She told investigators that Crombie approached her in April about a report made by a teacher, at which point she confessed everything to him. Crombie allegedly said that he was going to do her a favor and let the case go, and the two began a relationship. Hansen resigned from Northfield Public Schools in December. Crombie is charged with a felony count of aiding an offender and a gross misdemeanor count of misconduct. He is scheduled to appear in court on October 14th. Okay. Here's why I've got a massive, massive issue with a lot of this. If she's going to get a plea deal and this guy's going to go to trial, what this tells me is that he's going to end up serving way more time because she's not going to go to jail because of this plea deal. No. And he probably is going to go to jail. Now, what they both did is inexcusable, so don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But what is the bigger offense here? Is the bigger offense...
Oh, jeepers creepers. You're not going to like my answer on this one.
Okay, go ahead. No, I want to hear it.
I mean, should she be sending nude photos to children? No. There's one little tiny bit of me that doesn't think that's as big of a deal for a woman to send young kids, 8th grade up, right? I'm walking this fine line.
Sure.
It's not as big a deal as a police officer extorting someone for sex, saying, I'm going to take this. Police officers should be above reproach.
Let me pause right there.
Yeah.
In an effort to not help you.
Clarify.
But that's what she's alleging. She's alleging.
Okay.
He's saying they were already in a relationship, that they were already having an affair. What she's claiming is that she went to him and that he said he would do her a favor. So that's going to come down to a judge deciding whether or not she's telling the truth.
Okay.
Because either way, everything about this is so disgusting and so wrong.
What compels somebody? I'm looking at a picture of her right now. She looks like a standard sweet woman.
And she was or is married, and she had cited that in another report. I was reading from a different website, but I know I read this somewhere else, that in her marriage, she said basically that she just wanted attention. That's what she was looking for with sending.
So what, lady?
Okay.
So what?
Right.
So you don't get to get attention that way. I don't get what line you jump over to say, I think I'm going to send this kid a shot of my boobs or whatever she sent.
Right.
And did it start with one? Because if I'm not mistaken, she was sending these pictures to special needs children, right? Special education.
And that
children.
to me makes it infinitely worse.
Yeah, because they're fragile.
The most vulnerable of the vulnerable. And again, an 8th grader? I have an 8th grader that resides in my home. If this was happening to him,
am I that big am I that big a weirdo that says if a teacher sent me something in 8th grade, I'd be like, "Holy Reavers, look at this."
Maybe.
I don't think I'd be.
You're picturing the Van Halen video.
I wouldn't be. Yeah, I'd be hot for teacher. I don't think. Granted, this leads to a slippery slope. I'm not advocating that this is right. Were the kids harmed?
Well, one of the kids said that he felt very uncomfortable and really weirded out by this. And again, we're talking about special ed kids.
Yeah, I get that. And boy, I'm really taking an unpopular opinion on this one. I'm just saying, as adults, it's not that big a deal to see a naked person. It's not going to kill you. It's a woman doing it to a boy, and I do think that's different than a man doing it to a girl.
Perhaps,
the power base is different,
Perhaps,
right?
Yeah.
The hunter and hunted are different. They're two different things, right?
But I guess I think the biggest thing that I have a problem with in all of this is, and I'm going to get to another story in which I have just as big of a problem, if not more, is why are we offering this gal a plea deal? Well, what the hell are we doing?
Because she's taking down a bad cop, potentially.
But is she? I mean, granted, yes, he didn't file a report, and he absolutely should have in that specific case. But again, this is what she's claiming.
So you're under the impression that they were already dating,
that they were already in a relationship,
and then at some point in time, he found out that she was sending sexual pictures to these kids, and he said, "Hey, I'm going to help you out with that." I was under the impression that he found out about the pictures and then said to her,
and then use that to his advantage.
Use that to his advantage.
Sure.
And if that's the case, he should go to jail for a long time.
Yes,
you don't get to do that.
He really should, but also so should she.
So should she. I get that.
Okay. Again,
I mean, would I be pissed off if someone sent a naked photo to my son? Yes. I'd say, what the hell are you thinking? What the hell are you thinking? As an 8th or 9th or 10th grade boy, I would have had a different feeling of it. I would not have been vulnerable feeling.
Sure.
I would have been on top of the frickin' world feeling.
Okay.
Am I the only one who thinks that?
No, I don't think you are, but I do somewhat agree that it is way different that it is a male student and a female teacher as opposed to the other way. Where
it is.
And I do agree with that, but at the same time, I think adding the fact that this is these are special needs kids, that for some reason that just does not
heightens the stinkiness of it.
Okay,
right?
So I wanted to bring up the plea deal scenario because there was also this case. Here we go. A former state trooper has pleaded guilty in a child pornography production case. Jeremy Plonski entered guilty pleas to 1 count of producing child pornography and 1 count of distributing child pornography. Additional counts of each offense will be dismissed at sentencing. Minnesota State Patrol Colonel Christina Bogojevic confirmed that Plonski has been terminated. Quote, as stated in our previous statement, no badge, no title, and no passion will ever place anyone above the law. Protecting the vulnerables is our duty. Anyone who violates that duty has no place in this organization or in our profession. Jeremy Plonski has been terminated by the Minnesota State Patrol. Authorities said Plonski sexually assaulted an infant and wore his state trooper and Army Reservist uniforms while committing the crimes. Plonski then sent the videos of the assaults to a user on Kik. A sentencing in the federal case has not yet been set. He was also charged in Scott County with 1 count of first-degree criminal sexual conduct of a person under the age of 14. It's unclear how Plonski's guilty plea in federal court will impact his state's case against him. I'm going to ask this once again. Why? I guess this is a broader issue that I'm having right now, because whether it's the Hennepin County Attorney's Office, the Ramsey, whatever, who the hell decided it's just such a great idea to just go light on crime?
So what was his plea deal?
Well, the plea deal was he had 2 different offenses dismissed at sentencing.
But do you think they were just blended into something different? How does that work?
Who gives a damn?
Well, I mean, no, what I just don't get. I mean, there's so much nuance to that, right?
Sure, but this is the difference from this guy going away forever, which is what should happen.
Which is more than what should happen, yeah.
Or him serving 10 to 15 to 20 years. Again, we'll find that.
We don't know that. Yeah, and let me go on record. I am 100% of the opinion that this person should never see the light of day.
Never.
Never
see the light of day.
Never see if you're willing to do something that heinous. Am I just a hypocrite? Am I just a total hypocrite? Because this chick who
sent
I still love you. A couple of 9th graders boob pics, that I'm like not okay with that, but it's like, okay, that was dumb. And then this guy, obviously something way worse, having sex with an infant, molesting or videotaping sexual encounters with an infant. I think he should be spiked to death.
And that's right? I guess that's the bigger issue I'm having here. And I know I'm a little bit more I guess I don't know what the right word. I'm so exhausted and tired of everyone that just wants to live their life. That has to suffer from a lack of accountability and a lack of law being taken with people. I'm so freaking tired of that. But I'm sick of living in this world where this soft on crime stance has had an effect on everyone out there just trying to do the right thing.
We don't know that, though. We don't know in this case, for example. It might just be the attorney saying, hey, this is an open and shut case. We'll dump these two things if he agrees to 30 years in prison, right? And that's the mandatory, or that's the minimum, whatever it is. And instead of going to trial, they just get the work done. For efficiency purposes, Reavers, I don't really mind that, right? Are we going to send him to court? It's a slam dunk case. He's going to get the same thing anyways. Why risk it?
Right.
You have the two attorneys sit down and say, hey, this scumball's going away.
Right.
He's going away for a long time. If he gets 2 months, that ain't going to do it. But if he gets 40 years, that kind of counts for me.
Sure.
Right?
All right, let's talk about our friends at We Are Nuts.
Well, that's a horrible transition.
It really is. And there was no really good way to do this. But I got this great email from Stuart, and I wanted to read this to you, Michael. Hey, Reeves, the other week I decided to renew my membership at the New Richmond Sportsman's Club and went to the local Muni to get my paperwork and pay for the card. As I was completing my transaction, I looked to my left only to find myself staring into a jar of maple bourbon toffee almonds. Here's my opportunity to finally try them. They are good. Oh, they are very good. Sadly, they did not last so long. So I went to the We Are Nuts website thinking of ordering more and noticed the Nut Finder drop-down menu. Well, New Richland is the next town west of me, but I rarely make that trip. I typed in the zip code for Owatonna and found 2 places that I could get them on my way home. Neither being places that I frequent, the drop-down continued with places near Owatonna, and the first on the list was Steve's Meats in Ellendale. Perfect. A grueling block and a half walk from my front door. I stopped on my way back the next day and picked up my second jar of the maple bourbon toffee almonds and a nice pack of warm bourbon bacon from Steve's. BLTs and a convenient place to satisfy my We Are Nuts cravings. I may have to make a trip to Harmony at some point as well. Stuart, you are now the official copywriter for the Chris Reavers show. I love that.
He's good.
So anyway, here's the deal. Go into your local Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden stores, Max Hardware also as well, Kowalski's Markets, Lunds and Barley's. All of them carry the We Are Nuts brand. And right now is a great time for you to think about taking care of all of those clients, employees with those awesome gift tins that they have on their website, which is wearenutsmn.com. It's a great family-owned operation, and they've been a fantastic partner with us at the Weekly Scramble podcast. Again, wearenutsmn.com. Okay, so you follow the National Football League.
I do. I've paid attention to them once or twice.
Are you familiar with a gentleman by the name of Mark Sanchez?
He's going to jail.
So for those of you that don't know who Mark is, Mark was I think when the new high school ratings things came out, I think he was one of the most decorated high school quarterbacks to ever come out under this new format that they tabulate all this stuff with. He went to USC where he starred. He was a top 5 pick, I believe, by the New York Jets. In fact, he replaced Brett Favre when Brett Favre came to the Vikings.
Sure.
And so he was, he was a big time recruit, big time this, big time that. And even as a player, I believe he had some off the field issues.
Did he? I don't recall that.
Yeah, I don't want to speculate on that because the story that he's involved with currently is very very troubling. But anyway, so he had some off the field issues as a player, and then actually became a broadcaster, and I think does a pretty good job for. I think did a pretty good job for Fox, and I've heard him on one of my favorite national radio shows that I listen to almost every single day, and he's been a guest on that show frequently, and they address that as well. But he was in the city of Indianapolis this past weekend to do the Colts versus, who did they play? The Raiders, I think it was. So he was there in town to do the Colts and Raiders game in Indianapolis. And this story is just really, really bizarre. So apparently, Mark, I'm going to give you the timeline here. I'm trying to pull up the timeline. I picked up one of those websites that has a bunch of pop-up ads.
Sure.
So Friday night, Mark Sanchez, who's 38 years old, is in Indianapolis to serve as a Fox Sports analyst for the Raiders-Colts game on Sunday, this past weekend. He's observed acting erratically, doing wind sprints in the alley behind Low Miller's Pub and Eatery in downtown.
It's always a good sign when you see a guy dressed in a suit doing wind sprints behind the bar.
Just after midnight, a grease truck driver picking up cooking oil from a nearby hotel parks his truck in the loading dock, blocking the alley where Sanchez is doing wind sprints. Sanchez approaches the driver to try to get him to move and eventually gets into an altercation where he body slams him toward the wall and then to the ground. The driver sprayed Sanchez with mace or pepper spray, but the former NFL quarterback continues attacking him. The driver pulls a knife and stabs Sanchez 2 or 3 times in the chest, believing this guy is trying to kill me. Mm-hmm. Sanchez then turns around and heads up the alley. 12:30 a.m. Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department officers respond to a report of a person shot. They locate Sanchez in Low Miller's Pub. It's later reported that Sanchez is uncooperative with responding officers. He tells the detective that he can only remember grabbing for a window and nothing else about the incident. Sanchez is then rushed to the hospital in critical condition. The driver also suffered significant injuries, including lacerations to the cheek and jaw, with a cut that allegedly went through his cheek and hit his tongue. Ouch. Saturday. Sanchez undergoes surgery for stab wounds to the chest and is stable. He is arrested at the hospital and charged with misdemeanor counts of battery resulting in injury, public intoxication, and unlawful entry of a motor vehicle. On Sunday, Sanchez is discharged from the hospital Sunday morning and transferred directly to central booking at Marion County Jail, where he reportedly posts his $300 cash bond. On Monday, Sanchez's charges are upgraded from severe misdemeanors to a level 5 felony battery of causing serious injury.
So did you see how old the truck driver was?
69.
69.
Yeah.
Twice as old as Sanchez. That's a little different. I thought maybe it was a young buck truck driver who said, I ain't moving, and they got into some altercation. But a 69-year-old guy driving at midnight is a guy just working his ass off to make ends meet, right? He doesn't want to go fight Mark Sanchez in the alleyway.
Well, and what's just kind of baffling to me, and again, obviously, and according to the police report, he was under the influence.
Sure.
And Lord knows we've all done stupid stuff under the influence,
Not
right?
you.
Well, but my point is, we've all just done dumb things. Mm-hmm. But this will never cease to amaze me. Here you are. You're a fairly decorated professional athlete.
Yeah, highly respected.
You're trying to make your mark in the world of broadcasting. You've got a great gig with a national outlet. I didn't like him at first as a broadcaster. I've actually started to really enjoy some of the games that he's done because he kind of gives an interesting perspective. And you blow everything because you're mad at a guy trying to pick up grease in a loading dock.
A 69-year-old guy, an old guy driving a truck. And you're pissed because you want to do wind sprints. And guess what Mark Sanchez's net worth is estimated to be in 2025?
Let's see. I'm going to guess. So he played for, let's say he played for 10 years, maybe
10
a little
years.
bit longer than that. So that would put him at about, I would say, 25 to 30 mil. He's made a couple of mil as a broadcaster minus taxes. I'm going to say 30 million.
Okay, you are really good at that. So he played for 10 years. He had a $74.2 million earning during that 10 years.
But you're in New York, so.
But half of it's
of
gone.
that.
Half plus is gone. But its estimated net worth today is $40 million.
Okay.
So you have $40 million. Chill out, you loser drunk.
I just, yeah.
What a douche. What a total
You
doofus.
blew everything.
Yes, you blew everything because you were so drunk and you were an asshole.
You know what? Can you do me a favor?
Sure.
Because I know a preview. After this, you're going downstairs to do Twin Cities Live.
I am doing Twin Cities. I'm super excited.
Which is great. I can't wait to watch it. So when you do that, when Elizabeth and Ben introduce you,
Sure.
you'd say, because you're talking about preparing your lawn for fall, stuff like that.
Exactly that.
So I would say, I'll get to that in a minute, but I want to talk to Ben about Mark Sanchez.
Oh, that would be good.
Just as a joke.
Were they together ever?
Who?
Ben and Sanchez?
I
Because Sanchez was at the Broncos, Eagles, and New York Jets.
Yeah, no, I don't think he would have played with Ben. Okay. When he was with the Jets, Ben was playing with the Vikings.
Sure.
So please do that for me.
Okay.
Just to
say, hey, were you guys buddies? Have you ever been out drinking with Sanchez?
Just knowing Ben and his good nature, and I think you'd get a chuckle out of him.
Ben is what I consider.
He's a bro.
To be the guy who doesn't seem like he was ever a professional athlete.
Oh, 100%.
Like when you look at Ben,
yeah,
you think, oh, that guy looks like he could have been a professional athlete. Right? He's got this stud Adonis look to him.
Right.
But he carries himself in such a way. And one time on Twin Cities Live, they made him, because they write it on that little thing, he had to use the term, "you go girl." And I thought, what are they doing, bro? What are you doing? Dude, Ben freaking Lieber. Right. Ben was a killer football player, right? And now he's on Twin Cities Live every once in a while having to say, "You go, girl." Not a chance. It's like what they say they did to African-American actors, male actors, that every strong African-American actor who ever made it anywhere to the big leagues always was in a role that they had to dress as a woman to somehow try to emasculate them. Have you ever heard of that theory?
No.
If you go to any actor you've ever loved that's African-American, male actor, they've always had a role where they were forced to dress as a woman.
I did not know this.
It's a really weird theory. But that when I heard Ben Lieber one time on Twin Cities Live have to say, "You go, girl."
You go,
I'm like,
girl.
oh crap, Ben.
What are we doing here?
You can just say, Ben can just say, "I ain't saying that.
Not doing that.
I'm not doing that." Let's let sweet Elizabeth Reese say, "You go, girl."
Right.
And he'll say, "What up? What up, doll?" That's what he could have said. Instead of "You go, girl."
Okay, so maybe just float that one out there when you're.
But I will mention that to him.
I am going to go back to the whole idea that, again, and everyone's made mistakes. That's what makes being a human being part of being a human being. So I get all of that, but I'm just thinking to myself, and it's not like you're a 24-year-old that made this drunken mistake. You're almost 40, dude.
Yeah.
What are you doing here? Anyway, so I was flabbergasted to the point where when I saw the story at first, I said, well, there's got to be more to the story here. And then I read the details. I'm thinking, holy crap, this guy's an idiot.
I wonder do you think he'll get some time? Do you think he'll get some prison time?
Heavens. It's a level 5 felony?
Yeah.
He's 100% going to do time for this.
I don't think so.
Really?
I think what I think he's going to do? He's going to write a check and stuff is going to be dropped.
But to who?
To the victim.
Because when the victim, the charges?
Yeah, I mean, okay. This is a great ethical question for you, right? Some guy finds you at a bar, and believe it or not.
Time out.
Yeah.
So after they fire me from here, and I'm destitute, and I'm trying to pick up garbage.
Picking up grease traps.
I'm trying to pick up grease traps when I'm 69 years old,
and you're doing that, and someone dares to mess with you. Dares method, because you're a 6'4" dude.
And JJ McCarthy at 38. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, JJ.
I'm totally kidding.
Comes around. And it's about right in the math.
The timeline works.
It's almost about right. He picks a fight with you and he fights you. Right?
And he totally kicks my ass.
And he kicks your ass, and you have a hole in your cheek, and you're sticking your tongue out.
I don't know what happened, officer.
And you're thinking it's kind of cool, right? And you're like, I can put my tongue through my cheek for a minute because your adrenaline's going. At the end of that, do you really care if JJ McCarthy goes to jail? Or would you say, oh, you're going to give me $1 million? Fine. Kick my ass, but it's going to cost you $1 million.
It's going to cost more than $1 million.
You think so?
Yeah.
Have you ever played that game as a kid? Like, what would you do for 10 grand?
Oh, all the time.
My God.
I still play that with my 2 sons.
Would
you kidding me?
Would you let somebody kick your ass? First of all, I'm exceptionally fragile. So if anybody punched me, I would go. I mean,
we breathe the wrong way. You'll fall over.
Kicking my ass would be pretty easy. But for $1 million, as long as I wasn't like, if someone broke into my house and kicked my ass, that would be weird. But if I was out in a bar and got my ass kicked,
yeah, you're walking on the sidewalk,
and I said to him like, shut up, you drunk. Like if I was partially culpable for it, and they kicked my ass, and I could get $1 million for it, I'm probably pretty sure. You ever see that study where they asked these people like, what would you do for $1 million? And they said to people, I'll give you $1 million, but you have to give me your family pet. And everybody said no. Right? Then they calculated the person's all their debt, and some debt was like $13,847. Then they opened up the briefcase and said, here's $13,487. It pays all of your debt. I want your family pet. And it went from 0% of the people said yes to $1 million, and like 90% said yes when it paid off all their debts. So when they understood what the money was, they were like, I'm willing to take 13.5 if it pays off all my debt. The $1 million was so obscure I couldn't envision it.
And that's exactly why, based upon those stupid people,
yes,
why Tim Wells is running for a third term.
That's why when politicians say, I'm going to use some of the government's money, it's not the government's money. The government doesn't have money. It's your money.
All right, let's talk about Masters Maples and mastersmaples.com. We have big news here coming up, but I first want to mention the best handcrafted, pure Minnesota maple syrup that Minnesota has to offer, and it's available online at mastersmaples.com. It's our buddy Ben, a loyal weekly Scramble and listener, and also to the Garage Logic podcast. And we've got some big news here, Mike Fratelloni. Not only are all the Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores locations currently stocked with Masters Maples products, but I just got word that Ben is going to have a sampling deal at the Minnetonka Fratelloni's on Saturday, October 18th, and that he'd like to promote that. And you know what? I said, hell yeah, we're going to promote that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And you know what? That used to be my location, by the way. That's the one that's right on Highway 7, right?
Yep,
that used to be when I lived in Chanhassen. That was 100% my Fratelloni's location.
We're going to have a few people out there. And I said, Ben, like, come on. We're going to do a Weber demo. We're going to have some other companies out there. And Ben's going to be there. Ben will be the tallest one because he's 6'11".
Are you going to be like grilling and stuff?
I think there will be some grilling out there. So it's funny. Fratelloni's can't grill.
Why?
Because we don't have the permitting to grill.
Oh.
But one of the vendors that's coming to put up in our parking lot does have the permitting to grill.
Or go get those drug dealers.
Yeah, they can. No one's going to stop a drug dealer from grilling, right? It's like, what do you guys go? Oh, you're baking some crack and some wings.
I will say this. So Saturday morning, Saturday morning, my son loves not grilled, but the fried sausages.
Sure.
Because I always make scrambled eggs on Saturday morning, and I use a little bit of the Masters maple syrup and kind of glaze the outside of it. Sweet Moses. That makes such an amazing difference.
When's he going to be out there? Saturday what?
Saturday, October 18th at the Fratelloni's in Minnetonka.
I think it's in the afternoon, early afternoon or something.
I don't have a specific time, but we'll probably get that next week.
So I'll put that up on the socials so people can see it.
But
that's cool.
It's going to be very cool. And the thing is, it's great. It's great stuff, man. The savory and sweet rubs that are available right now at Masters Maples and also at Fratelloni's, they're fan-freaking-tastic. I crock-potted a porchetta with the savory seasoning the other day.
My mouth just watered.
I pretty much ate that in about 2 days. It was that good.
You got to be careful with these things.
I know.
I don't know if you're the... Like, you're on this 180. You have a sponsorship agreement,
right?
With this,
but one of the
so
things
you're supposed to be losing weight.
Is you're supposed to eat your animal protein for your one meal a day, and that's what I did.
So did you say I had an entire porchetta?
Well, but I also did. I did grilled vegetables with the porchetta.
Okay, so that seems
absolutely
with some of that Masters maple sugary thing on the vegetables.
We can leave that part out of
it. Does make it so good. They really have. It's good company. We've been selling the hell out of it.
Oh, I imagine.
There's a few things. That, right? The We Are Nuts.
Yep.
The Masters Maple. It's like we have these on end caps now, and I come in, I'm like, what is going on? Why are you so low? And they're like, it's impossible to keep it going. Like, I mean, they can do it. We just can't get it fast enough, right? So our orders went from like, oh, let's have 6 on the shelf to have 16 on the shelf to have 60 on the shelf. It's really, really interesting how powerful the weekly scramble is. I think it's maybe GL that's pushing everybody there.
No, it's us.
Yeah, I think so too. If you go onto the Frat Pack, you see a bunch of pictures of guys going in and getting their Masters Maple, and guys and gals getting their Masters Maple, and We Are Nuts. It's really cool. Yeah. It's all over the place.
So you can also, like I said, place your order at mastersmaples.com. Taste the difference. All right.
I had a comment about, can I throw in something that had nothing to do with anything?
Please do.
So you were talking about Eastridge. What was the name of Walls' house?
East Cliff.
East Cliff.
Yeah. Eastridge is a high school.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, I think I have to go there tonight. So I was thinking about that, and the university is selling that property to a foundation, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Owned by the university.
Owned by the university. But what I don't get is, can the University of Minnesota dispose of property, meaning sell property, without having an arm's length transaction? Like, don't they have to put that up for sale, for example? So then they offered $2 million to buy that piece of property. I'm going to tell you that property is worth way more than $2 million. So I thought, why don't you and I go in together and buy it for $2 million and $1? We'd be the highest bid, Because hypothetically, the University of Minnesota, like if the state of Minnesota sells a tractor, they have to put it up for auction to the highest bidder. They can't just say, oh, Reavers, I'm going to sell this tractor to you. Here's a good deal on it. They can't do that. The University of Minnesota probably can't do that either. So I don't even know what they're doing is legal, which makes me want to go place a bid or go buy an ad and say, I want to buy that property and use it. I don't care that the University of Minnesota wants to sell it for $2 million.
It's going to be my bachelor pad.
I'm willing to give you $2 million and one. And then you and I could party there.
Well,
just think of that.
It's
Reavers.
funny you say that because I thought about that in that moment. And I also thought when we were having a couple of conversations with Jim Rubin, and the thought that kept occurring to me is the IDS Tower. Because the IDS Tower sold for $6 million within the last, I think, year.
Is that right?
Yes. And it had, you should pull it up because I know we discussed this on GL. And I remember thinking, well, obviously somebody with that kind of capital is seizing upon an opportunity to acquire one of what, and I'm going to use this word even though it's foghornable, one of the most iconic buildings in the history of the state of Minnesota. And it's still a beautiful building, and it still is. And here's why I was thinking. That's going to make enough sense alone for this very purpose, Mike. Because the top floor of the IDS Tower is a wedding venue.
I know.
And I only know this because I wrote that check 18 years ago.
Sure.
And that alone would be worth the price tag. And am I right? Was it $6 million?
I'm not seeing that, but I'm sure it's not showing me that last $6 million. Last time it sold that I see was in 2013 for like $253 million.
Okay, I'm going to look this up because I know we talked about it.
But was it the IDS or was it a different building? It was a LaSalle Plaza.
Yeah, here we go. January 31st, 2025. The Minneapolis IDS Tower sold for $6.25 million, which would represent a 97% reduction in price from the last time it sold in 2013 when it was traded for $200 million.
Wow.
That, to me, is insane.
That does,
Sorry, $253 million.
Sure. So okay. I think I don't have $6 million free dollars.
Who does?
But I could scrape together
Mark Sanchez
a
does.
couple of buddies, and we could buy the IDS. I think if I would have known that, just imagine bringing a gal up there. I'm married, you're married. Not us. We couldn't do it.
Right.
But buddies that are single.
Someone we know.
Because that floor spins, right? Doesn't it turn?
Yes.
You slowly turn. So you could get her up there, and you could say, hey, do you like this view? And she goes, I don't really like this view. And say, hold on. And then you go back there, flip a switch, and it turns and say, how about this view, baby? Think of the power. Guaranteed done deal.
And not to mention the fact that, and again, just from a business standpoint, you've got the hotel that's in that building.
Mm-hmm.
You have, is it at least 30 floors of retail space that are available? I was absolutely stunned by that. And the fact that obviously somebody did go in there, somebody did acquire that back in January, and somebody's going to eventually make a boatload of money.
Where are you getting this number?
What is my source? This is
January of what year are you reading?
2025.
Because I said I get the IDS Center was not sold in January of 2024. Its current owner, the Buck Company, sold the building in September of 2025. That's for $277 million.
From something called Bridge Tower Media, Finance and Commerce. I also believe our buddy Nick Halter from Axios Twin Cities wrote about this.
Really?
Yes. I
have stuff from September 10th. Why isn't it not mentioning this?
I guess I don't know.
And you're sure it's the IDS Center in Minneapolis?
That's because I remember, and the only reason it stuck with me is because that's where I had my wedding reception.
Okay, hold on. Here's another tower that says, okay, this is on the fly. This is not great radio.
Okay.
But we're going to do it anyways. Now the story just closed. Don't you hate that? It says just a little over a month after the Wells Fargo announced the acquisition office building in downtown Minneapolis, Ameriprise Financial.
Well, I knew the Ameriprise
building. The
Minnesota
Minnesota Star
sold.
Tribune reported the building sold for $6,250,000. That is not the IDS Center, though.
Which is what?
It's not saying. The building is located at 707 2nd Avenue, and its namesake tenant, Jesus Chrysler. Why does it not say? It's the Ameriprise Financial Center. Not the IDS Center.
But there were multiple acquisitions made because I think this
is January 31st, 2025.
Here's why I guess I'm going to be assured that, because I know in talking to both Rick Capcella and Jim Rubin, this was one of the pieces, and I know you were traveling, so I haven't seen A Precarious State yet, but it's mentioned in that documentary.
Just over a month after it announced the purchase of Wells Fargo Center, Onward Investors announced another acquisition of office building in downtown Minneapolis, the Ameriprise Financial Center. The building, which is about 25 years old, was purchased for $6.25 million in January of this year, a 97% reduction from the last time it sold in 2016 for $200 million. Boy, I don't know. None of these stories seem right.
Okay.
But I can't find the IDS selling for so cheap.
Okay.
But
well, you know what
still,
we'll do? It's just still, I think the point remains the same.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Office buildings are going. What you're saying is we could buy a clubhouse in downtown Minneapolis with 800,000 square feet.
Exactly.
We could smoke cigars in there if we wanted to. We don't care.
Play video games.
We could send pictures to people and say, come on up. We could get Lieber there and you could say, you go, girl. I got to get him saying that.
Right. Well, I know you got to run, but Mike, did you have a closing statement that you would like to make for the audience?
Yeah, I was thinking about my childhood the last couple of days.
Oh.
And my childhood was really good. My dad used to push me down hills in old tires. They were good years. Ravers, you are the best.
Please do us a favor, rate and review the show wherever you happen to be listening to the Weekly Scramble podcast. It helps other people find the show, and it does help us out as well, and we appreciate each and every single one of you. His name is Mike Fratelloni. My name is Chris Reavers. Thank you so very much for tuning in to the Weekly Scramble podcast. We'll talk to you again next time, and until then, cheers.